Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, this is Jocelyn Vinton. Welcome to the show, coming into the higher calling. And those who are coming in through blogtalkradio.com / coming into the higher calling. This is the rise of Israel, Judah, and the word. And those who are coming in through www.speaker, that's SPREAKER.com / Jocelyn Linton's tracks, apostrophe S. Welcome to the show. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture. And this has been an ongoing saga looking at Jeremiah in so many different aspects. And yes, I do have many titles, but hey, it's told a story to you already. And today's date is the 17th in the UK. We start with the day first, 17th, 06, 2016, and can I tell you, we have already completed half of the year 2016, and the time is 09:33. 09:33. So they're talking about end times, the end of a time, and I say the end of an age because that's what Jesus refers to, the end of an age. And what does it all mean, folks? What does it mean to you when you hear the term end times? End times. And the YouTube is full of it. It's full of all these predictions and people coming forward and saying that they had dreams or they're able to interpretate the Bible and therefore bring forth prophecies. Yes, that's those who have that type of interest and tend to survey the YouTube, you see. And then there are those who is just so unaware of end times, didn't even know that there was going to be, that didn't even know that there's an end time. Okay, life is just going to keep going on. You know, there are people who are just unaware, you know, because can I tell you, we're not really taught the plot of the Bible. We're not told the true story of the Bible. Okay, people who goes to church, and I'm talking about on the European side, the westernized countries, that go into the church building and listen to the priest, the vicar, the pastor, you know, the evangelist, whatever the tag, the name is, you know, parts of the Bible is taken, or, you know, verses, and a discussion is made out of it, and it's usually to give people a guidance on how to think, how to believe, and on their daily lives. But I really don't think that the main plot, the main storyline of the Bible is given to people. And so from a very young age in my upbringing here in the UK, you know, we went, my parents sent me to the Anglican school, the Church of England school, rather than the Catholic school. Somehow my dad just didn't want me to go anywhere near the Catholic school. So, and, you know, we had morning assemblies and we would sing hymns, and the teachers taught us stories from the Old Testament, like Samson and Delilah. They taught us about David and Goliath, and all the sort of various stories. They didn't tell us much about Abraham. They told us about Joseph and his ladder, Jacob and his ladder and his beautiful coat. They told us about Daniel and the lion. And I remember we did a big concert on Daniel, Diane and the lion in the den, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the singing that went with that. And then come Christmas time, they taught us about Mary and Joseph having a baby who they couldn't find a place, an inn, so the baby was born in a manger, and his name was Jesus. Yeah, and we had the Christmas tree, and there were those who were picked out to dress up. And I remember I would always kind of put up a storm there, because I wasn't chosen voluntarily. Unless I put up a storm, then they said, well, okay, just to keep quiet. You can go ahead, you see. So, you know, so that's the main ethos. But these days, the Lord is really tracking me through his holy scriptures. And he's showing me the story And not only is the Lord showing me the story, but he's telling me it's his story. It's his story. The Lord is speaking his story to the earth. Okay, and he's speaking his story through his chosen messengers, his chosen soul. He wants us to know his story. And I can tell you, many of us want others to know our story. And I'm typical. I'm always telling you my story. I want you to hear my story. I just told you a story that I'm born in the UK and I went to the Anglican church, and for some reason my dad was not really, he encouraged me to stay with the Anglican, the Church of England school. And I remember we weren't able to stray around the Catholic school, and that my dad said, stay with the Anglican church, Anglican school. And I just gave you my story of what it was like when I first went into the school. So we all have that story to tell. And as I'm saying this, it's sparking a story in your mind of your own upbringing and your own childhood days and your memory of just knowing spirituality and knowing that there is a higher and a greater source than just the ordinary, regular life. Many of us, in some format, let me tell you, in some format, it has been put in our minds that there is a higher source that has that greater control. Okay? So the heavens has its way of seeping into our minds and awakening us to their presence. Okay? So the Lord is saying, I have my story and I want you to hear my story. Right? And I have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And he says there's a plot to his story. So the Lord has been showing me the story, and this morning he really has had me to realize that it's all about him. Yes, the Lord said it's all about me. It's all about me and my intentions. I write the story. I write the script. You see, and I pull the lines. I bring in the characters as and when, and I'm the one who gives the star to say who should be the major player and who should be the minor. I lay them out on the platform. It's my story. Okay? It's my story, and I will cry if I want to, says the Lord. So, but he didn't say that. I'm saying that. So the Lord is saying that this whole scenario that's taking place on the earth, it has been his story. And I'm saying it has been his cry. And I just want to slip in something here that I was listening to on the YouTube here. And bear with me here. You'll probably recognize the voice.
So today, once again, as has been true too many times before, I held and hugged grieving family members and parents, and they asked, why does this keep happening? And they pleaded that we do more to stop the carnage. They don't care about the politics. Neither do I. Neither does Joe. And neither should any parent out here who's thinking about their kids being not in the wrong place, but in places where kids are supposed to be. This debate needs to change. It's outgrown the old political stalemates. The notion that the answer to this tragedy would be to make sure that more people in a nightclub are similarly armed to the killer defies common sense. Those who defend the easy accessibility of assault weapons should meet these families and explain why that makes sense. They should meet with the Newtown families, some of whom Joe saw yesterday, whose children would now be finishing 5th grade, on why it is that we think our liberty requires these repeated tragedies. That's not the meaning of liberty. I'm pleased to hear that the Senate will hold votes on preventing individuals with possible terrorist ties from buying guns, including assault weapons. I truly hope that senators rise to the moment and do the right thing. I hope that senators who voted no on background checks after Newtown have a change of heart. And then I hope the House does the right thing and helps end the plague of violence that these weapons of war inflict on so many young lives. I've said this before, we will not be able to stop every tragedy.
Okay, thank you very much. President Obama delivers a statement in Orlando, and this was apparently yesterday, which is the 16th of June 2000. It was published on June the 16th, 2016, Orlando, Florida. Okay, and this was 9 hours ago. So there you go. There's a story there, and I'm sure as you listened, you began all sorts of thoughts, imaginations, and interchange, memories, emotions arose in yourself. And that's the thing about telling a story. The Lord wants to arouse the emotion. The Lord wants to bring vision in our minds. And can I say, there's a thought of the word I'm going to use right now is a kind of a condemnation, right? And why I say the word condemnation, because the Lord, in talking to the people of Israel and Judah, when He sends Jeremiah to the people, He says to them to confess their sin. That was the pivoting point of them receiving forgiveness from the Lord. He wanted to know that the people got to the stage of realizing that they are in the wrong and that they are not in the right place in themselves and in the Lord. And now they were crying to come higher. And until they reached that point, the Lord was just going to allow them to stay in more evil. More evil. See, the Lord wants us to recognize that we are not where we are supposed to be. We are in a lower state. He wants us to come higher in Him. He wants us to call upon Him, His holy name. He wants us to pray to Him. He said, "My house shall be a house of prayers. Call upon me. My name is Lord." And He said, "Call upon me for your battles, and I will save you." So the Lord wants us to come into a condemnation of where we are at. He does not want us to be complacent with evil. Though the Lord has said, "My people have committed two evil, they have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and they've gone elsewhere and cut themselves out or hewed themselves out broken cisterns that cannot hold any water." Okay. Though He has said that, He said, "I will bring evil upon them." But He said that prior to that. And as I said, I repeat the scriptures so that it can be a mantra which can come into its manifestation. The Bible is full of repetition, and it's the repetition that brings the word to pass. So He says, "Israel was holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruit of His increase. All that devour Him shall offend. Evil shall come upon them, says the Lord." So the Lord is saying, again as we read on, that He will bring evil upon those that offend. Okay? And offend meaning that Israel was holiness unto the Lord, and the first fruit of His increase. All that devour that, all that swallow it up, all that takes it away, all that has that cancelling effect in the consciousness of His people, and that's all of us here on the earth, okay, shall offend. That means the Lord is offended. And evil shall come upon them, says the Lord. And that means forsaking Him. So the Lord shall forsake them. They won't know God. They won't know the true nature of the Lord. They won't